Today we are making a video on Ubuntu 23.04. This is a stable version and it released today. So here is the boot menu of the Ubuntu, which is usually the same. Nothing has changed in the boot menu. In order to boot in a live mode, you can just click on try or install Ubuntu and this option for safe graphics, and this is the test memory. So let's boot it in a live mode. It's always a better idea to boot it in a live mode because if we have bugs, we can just remove that thing. If you directly install without testing, it's going to be having some bugs sometimes. We don't know. If it works good, that should be good, but if they had bugs, you should be suffering from the bugs and all the torture. It's always better to go with a live mode. And I forgot to mention that I'm running it on a virtual machine, which is a VMware with 4 GB of RAM, 80 GB of hard disk and 2 processors. And here is the new Ubuntu logo and Ubuntu design, as you can see. So it's a GNOME desktop environment and it's a default of Ubuntu. It's not other flavors. And ignore my background noise because some people are going crazy right now in front of my house, and construction is going under beside my house. So ignore the sounds of the people, ignore the sound of the keyboard and mouse because there are click sounds. Can't decompress the noise or reduce the noise. I can't do that because the voice of the Audacity is going to ruin the best quality. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So you also should ignore that. That's my request. So I think we should be having our desktop layout loaded because it usually takes 30 to 40 seconds minimum in the Linux distro, and maximum should be like a minute or a minute and a half, sometimes 2 minutes. So I'll be posting 2 videos daily without missing. So there is be another content today. So after watching this video, you can go and check out the other content too. So here is our desktop layout trying to load up, and here is our default wallpaper. I already made a beta release, a pre-release development version. Every type of ISO release, as soon as they released, I made a content on it. So this is a stable version. I always recommend to wait for a few more days because even it's a stable version, there should be having some bugs sometimes. I'm going to mention it again, it's sometimes. We don't know. Instead of ruining your PC, it's always better to wait for a few days. If you can't wait with installation, or if you want to use it as soon as it's released, it's always better to use it in a live mode. After if you are satisfied with live mode, and if you don't encounter the bugs or if you don't find any bugs, it's always better to install it after these things and working on it for a few hours. Don't just use it for 10 seconds or 10 minutes like that and just go with installation. Just use it for a good 5 to 6 hours or maybe one day because you don't want to ruin your PC. So I'm trying to say it again and again because I don't want you to ruin your PC. So here is our welcome screen with the language selection. This is a new welcome screen, and there is also a new installer in the Ubuntu. I don't think there are new installer in the other Ubuntu flavors. So let's check it out first in the Ubuntu GNOME desktop environment, and let's go with the Ubuntu flavors later or in the next videos. So let's first choose our language. So let me first change the display resolution because it's pretty odd. Let's try to change the display setting by going to display settings. You can go to system settings and go to system settings there, and you can change there, or you can just go to other activity workspace and change the settings. Here is the display settings. Let me change the display setting. Mine is 1920 into 1080 with a 16:9 ratio, and click on apply. If you can't see the text or font size after you changed to 1920 into 1080 with a 16:9 ratio, it's always better go with the scaling. If you have a scaling only option with the scaling, just go to 200%. If you have a fractional scaling, go to 150% because 1920 into 1080, 16:9 ratio and 150% should be pretty good to look the text and font size, which will be bold. So let me first go to the language selection first here. I want to boot it in a live mode, so remember that. And this is also a stable version, I also remember that. So first let's choose the language, which is English. Click on next. Here you have two options, install Ubuntu or try Ubuntu. In my opinion, it's always not opinion, it's a tip, or you can call it anything you want. It's always better idea to boot it in a live mode first. After you are satisfied, if you don't find any bugs, go with installation. For now, I'm going to choose try Ubuntu. Click on next. It's going to load up the desktop completely for us. So this is a live mode, and the live mode doesn't save anything, so remember that too. So let me go to settings and check out the distro info. Not the complete distro info, just basic info. I'm going to show the complete distro info in a few seconds or few minutes. The device name is Ubuntu. You can change anything you want. It's clearly up to you. And the memory is 4 GB RAM, which I mentioned. I'm running it on a VMware. So I choose the 4 GB of RAM for that. And here is my processor and graphics and the hard disk. And the OS name is Ubuntu 23.04. That's the reason you came here. So OS type is 64-bit, and there is no 32-bit available right now. Maybe they should be available in the future, they said, but we don't know properly. GNOME version is 44, but it's not available right now. It should be available in a few seconds after I will type the commands like that. So Windows system is a X11, virtualization VMware, which I already mentioned. A kernel version is a Linux 6.2.0 20 generic. That's the latest version. Here are the software updates. You can update like that. So let's first launch the system monitor and check the resources consuming. We need to check the system monitor before running any apps, because we need to know how much resources are consumed before the apps opened, and you should be opening the system monitor again at the end, so you will be having idea. That's the thing I'm going to do right now in the video. I will show the beginning of the video, the system monitor, and ending of the video. So we will be having an idea of how much resources will be consumed. So let's change the color so you can see properly the graph. Just ignore the high peak in the beginning, because it's pretty common. And you should run up to 1 minute, so you will be having a good graph, and you should be assuming and you should be judging what the resources are there, or what type of resources are consuming, and how much resources are consumed. That's all thing. So the memory is almost a 1.3 GB. You already know it's not a low-end PC, low-end Linux distro. Ubuntu is never the low-end Linux distro. If you want to use the Ubuntu low-end for the low-end, you need to go with Ubuntu flavors like Lubuntu and Subuntu sometimes, I guess, because they have LXQT and XFCE desktop environment. So that's the reason. As you can see, the graph is almost pretty stable. The graph of a CPU is almost under 15% or 20% max. So CPU side is pretty good, and the RAM side is also okay. But because some people have a 2 GB of RAM, if they are using a low-end PC, but that should be a problem for them. Let me show you after the running through all these softwares and some settings, all the things, and let's check back later. And I will recommend or not recommend there for the low-end PC. So these are the graph. So let's check the version. It should be GNOME 44. So here is the GNOME 44 and the file system. Let's close this thing and open the terminal. Let's grab some of the distro info. Let's type in inxi-sv8 sudo apt install inxi. Let's try to install. If doesn't work, so you need to update all the things. So let's ignore that thing and try to search another command. These are some other commands, and cat etc issue. So it's Ubuntu 23.04. So Htop shouldn't be available, I guess. Let's try to install a Htop. Htop should be installed in a few seconds, I guess. It should usually take like a 10 seconds maximum, or 12 to 20 seconds sometimes. So I think we are done, I guess. It's complete. Let's type in Htop. So here are the CPU and RAM. Tasks are 114 and RAM is almost a 964 MB, and here is CPU. So let's check the info of the GNOME terminal, which is GNOME 44. And let me show you how to download the Ubuntu 23.04 by going to their website, and I will show you the download and some info if it's available. So Firefox should take like a maximum of 20 seconds because it takes that much time in Ubuntu. And the Firefox is the default browser for almost every Linux distro, almost 70 to 80% of Linux distros. And sometimes it should be Falcon, or sometimes it should be Chromium. Some Linux distros use even Microsoft Edge. So here is our Firefox web browser, and version should be latest version, which should be 11.111 or 222. They are in still 111. The latest version is 1112. So let's type in the search term, which is Ubuntu 23.04. That should be the search term. And some of the info, here is the link for the website. There should be some info like a disk image. You should always remember that it should be named like a Ubuntu 23.04 Lunar Lobster, not the beta or the daily builds or like that. Always remember this thing. And again, after looking this is proper, and go with the downloads. Go with downloads which are available and suitable for your PC. So let's scroll it down. Here is the 64-bit AMD 64, and this is for server, netboot, toggle. And here you can see the file size is also a bit more, which is 4.6 GB, and you should see the date also. And there are some other options to download. Let's go with the AMD 64 because we need that. It's for PC and computers. Here is the download started. Just clicking on it, it's going to trigger the download. I'm using a VPN, so my internet speed is low right now. So this is the download option. If you want to go with some info, you can go and get the info from here. Releases, you can check the older version also. Let's go back. Let's close this thing, and I'm going to show you the installation process. I'm not going to install it. I'm just going to show you the installation process. So it should take a few seconds. This is the latest new installer. This is pretty fast actually. I showed that in a beta version and pre-release. I think that should be having in a pre-release also. I don't remember properly, but I actually showed in a beta version. If you want to see that, or you can really see that right now, I'll show you that. Click on next. After choosing your language, you need to choose your keyboard layout. There are plenty of languages, no need to worry. They covered everything, I guess. So I'm choosing the English United States keyboard variant. Click on next, and here is our connect to internet or internet connection settings. I'm using a Wi-Fi, but it's a VMware, so it's going to say use wired connection. Let's go with this option. And here are other options to choose application and updates. After downloading with the 4.6 GB or 4.5 GB, it's always better idea to go with the normal installation because it's a waste of download. Just for going to minimal installation will be worse or the weird idea. It's always go with normal installation because normal installation has a web browser, utilities, office software, games and media player. The normal installation will be having everything. The minimal installation having just a web browser and a basic utilities like a mouse pad or text editor like that. So it's always better, in my opinion, it's always good idea to go with a normal installation. And other options are like install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware. It's always better idea to check this option, and download and install a support for additional media formats. It's also good. If you want to do that later, you can do after the installation. If you ask my opinion, so this is the best options. Click on next. And here is the partition settings. You need to be very careful and you need to have an idea what you're doing here. So if you choose the erase disk and install Ubuntu, it's going to erase everything like a media, files, everything, and boot it in a single boot. It's going to boot it in a single boot. The other operating system should be gone. So you need to be having an idea of what you're doing here. So if you choose the manual partitioning, it's going to give you two options like a resize the partition, all that things. You can dual boot also. So if you ask me, it's I'm going to choose the rs disk and install Ubuntu. I'm not going to do that because I'm running it on a VMware. Nothing going to happen to my VMware. So there are other options too. If you want to do all these things, you can encrypt also. I'm just choosing none. So these are the options right now I'm choosing. Click on next. So here is the thing happens after clicking on install. Here are the partitions, here are the things will happen. After clicking on install, it's going to take a maximum of a few minutes, like a maximum depends on your PC. If it's a good PC, it's going to take like a 5 to 10 minutes, a maximum. If you have a low end PC, it should take a lot of time, like 20 minutes maximum. So after installation, it's going to be installed on your hard disk like a main OS. If you choose the rs disk, it's going to choose like a main OS. If you choose the partition, it's going to give an option like a dual operating system. So it all depends on you. So after that, you should be having your Ubuntu 23.04 installed on your PC. So it's always better option to boot it in a live mode. After you're satisfied, you go with the installation. So that's the installation process. Let's see the applications which comes pre-installed. Here are the applications which comes pre-installed. These are all the basic and every time available in the Linux distro, Ubuntu old versions also. So these are all the usual and default applications which were also available in the older version too. So there is nothing changed. Let's go to the settings first and check the desktop features also with the settings. And let's go back to the applications later. So on the network sides, there is nothing changed, the same settings. As you can see, there's nothing changed, which I already said in the beta version 2. Here is the Bluetooth and appearance, and here are the wallpapers. There is some few wallpapers changed, like a Lunar Lobster wallpaper, and that's it. There's nothing changed. You can change the colors. I'm choosing the blue one. If you can choose the dark, it's a dark version, and the default is a white version. So these are some other wallpapers. Let's try to change the wallpaper. This is the wallpaper available right now. So on the Ubuntu desktop, you have a dock settings. You can change your behavior of a dock. You can change the size or the automatic hide and which was also available in the old version, so no need to show all these things. You can choose the position, left, right, up, down, and choose anything you want. You can customize this on your own. I don't need to show that things. So here are the notifications which are also available in the older version, so nothing to change or nothing to look here. Search is also same. Multitasking is a bit I think same, but this graphics is different, I guess, or the images are different. I don't know properly because I make a lot of videos. I don't remember that much. If you're using Ubuntu, you should be having an idea what is going on here. So these are the additional drivers or apps, you can call it. On the privacy side, there are some options. There is also device manager or some option here for some people. Right now it's not available for me. Maybe it should be available after installing, I guess, on the hard disk. So these are the options. Always remember that location services, camera options should be always turned off. Only turn on when you are using. That's a better tip or a best tip to give from me. So always turn off some of the settings, because microphone also, it's always better to turn off the microphone, because it's a safe thing or a safe habit to do that. And here are the online accounts. That's some bit of things are changed here. That the older version has a big font or a big text like that, but now it's pretty good. And on the sharing side, that's a pretty same thing. And here are the sounds. Nothing changed. Everything is same. I think over amplification is a new option, I guess. Here you can see there is a microphone going on. I'm using a Yeti. So let's go with the power option and choose the, I want to keep it never, because I'm making a video. So you don't need to change this thing, because it's going to, if you're using a laptop, it's going to consume a power. So you can choose the setting, do anything you want. And the display is also same. There is a fractional scaling available in the past version too. I think night light is a new option, I guess. So These are the night light options. It's a good option for the people who are constantly using the laptop even at night, so it's always better. If you ask me, I'm going to turn it on every time I'm using a laptop, because I have only that. I will be turning on night light every time because I don't want to ruin my eyes. It's always turn on. Some people turn off that because they don't want it. I will always turn it on. I don't turn it off like that. So let's go back to the settings, mouse and touchpad. This is a new option or a new animation which I already showed in the beta version, but I'm going to still show you in the stable version too. So this is a natural and this is a traditional scrolling moves. As you can see, there is a animation here. If you want, you can do that. This is a new option. On the keyboard side, you have some other options here. On the printers, that's the same thing. Removable media, same. On the colors is also same. Region and language is also same, nothing changed. Accessibility, these are some other new options. You should go through all these things. Here are the options. Let's go back on the hearing. Let's go back to typing, pointing and clicking, zoom. As you can see, these are available options and new options. On the user side should be same. There is nothing changed. The account, I'm running it on a live medium or a live boot, so it's going to say live. You can change this username. It's going to change back again after you turn off because it's a live boot. So default apps, this is also same. Date and time also same. About the distro, we should be having our GNOME version, which is 44.0. First it was not available, now it should be available right now after opening apps. So these are all the info. Let's go to the other desktop features, which is accessibility, some of the new options. There is also a background apps running right now here. There should be an option like that. After installation, you should be seeing that. So I'm running it on a live mode, so it's going to show you just these things. And the device manager should be also available after installation. So these are the options. I think we covered everything, I guess. Let's open the Ubuntu software and check the version. Instead of opening every app, let's check it in Ubuntu software. So it should take a few more seconds to boot it in. It should take like a maximum of 40 seconds, I guess. So there is also new icons for the LibreOffice. This is our new icons. Not best icons, but it's pretty good still because they changed. That's the thing we want. We don't want the same icons every time. They changed that. That's good. So these are all the pre-installed apps. Nothing changed. And the apps which comes with a GNOME desktop environment, you don't need to worry about the version. What version is available? The GNOME desktop environment version will be same as the available apps in that desktop environment, like a text editor and calendar, calculator. All the options or the versions will be named or version will be GNOME 44, and there will be some point in front of them. That's it. There will be nothing changed. Only Rhythm Box and LibreOffice version should be different because they are not from the GNOME desktop environment. So software updates available to download. Please download waitings. Let's go to this thing and check the available downloads. So as you can see, there is a new pop-up here. One notification is available. So on the updates, we have just a Firefox update, just a 0.1 release update. On the installed, let's click on installed, and here you can search the app. It's going to take a few more seconds, but the animation effect is pretty smooth, as you can see here for loading. First it was like a bit of lag in the older versions, but in the latest version it's pretty smooth, and the graphics or the animation effects is also changed a bit, or you can say it as it changed to smooth. The version of the calculator should be 44, as I already mentioned, because the GNOME desktop environment available with this version is 44.0, and the apps which available or which comes pre-installed with the GNOME desktop environment should be named with GNOME 44. That's a basic knowledge. Cheese version is also same because it comes with the GNOME desktop environment. So gparted should be also same, not the same. Version is 1.3.1. and image viewer should be same. Ignore the background noise because the construction is going beside my house, so ignore that sounds. And the GNOME image viewer is a 42.3. So LibreOffice version should be 7.5.2, and the same version should be for Impress, Writer, everything should be same because they are with the GNOME with the LibreOffice. Rhythm box version is 3.4.6, which is also the same version in the previous Linux Ubuntu versions too. So the Shotwell version is 0.30.18. So I think we covered everything, I guess. So these are all the other applications. Let's open some app and see. There is also Snap Store here, as you can see. If people want some info about this, here are the info. So let's close this thing and see what are the other things we left. I think we covered everything, I guess. Let's go to software updater. That's the only thing left here. Let's go with software and updates too. So it's going to take a few seconds, and we should be having our apps opened. So as you can see, software and updates, you can change or customize anything you want here. So these are the available options. So let me close this thing, and the software on this computer is up to date. That's all we want. Let me open the system monitor now because we ran everything, almost everything. So as you can see, there is a bit of delay or maybe a lag, as you can say. It's taking a few seconds there. So let's go to the system monitor and check the resources consumed. I didn't open that many apps, just a few setting apps, all that things, that's it. Let's check the RAM now. RAM is almost 2.1 GB. Again, if you ask me, it's for low-end PC or a 2 GB of RAM PC, it's not for them. Because I didn't open that many apps, just some settings, wallpaper changed. I changed the wallpaper and I opened the software manager, that's it. I didn't open the LibreOffice, I didn't open any media player, I didn't open any image viewer. I just opened the software manager and showed the versions there. If I run everything, it should be like almost 2.8 GB or almost 3 GB. If you ask it for 2 GB of RAM PCs, no, it's not a good option. If you want to use a Ubuntu flavor, it's always better to go with Lubuntu or Subuntu. There are two best Ubuntu flavor Linux distros. Don't go with Ubuntu Budgie, Ubuntu other like a Studio, all that things. That's not good for you. That's also, I don't even like that Linux Ubuntu flavors. If you want to use the lightweight and low-end Ubuntu flavors, there's two options, which are Lubuntu and Ubuntu Subuntu. That's the two options I'm going to recommend. CPU is almost stable from the beginning and ending. This is same, but the RAM is changed. And you are the only person can judge that. If you want to use it, you can use it. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. I think that's it for the video. So let's end the video. I forgot to mention, or I forgot to show that this part is only for the viewers who want to watch my content without subscribing. People who already subscribed, no need to worry. So you will be getting a video automatically as soon as I post it. So you don't need to worry this. Just the people who want to watch my content without subscribing, this part is only for you. Just type in youtube.com/ or you can call it as a /925 Linux. If you are using a browser in any devices, you can type in complete URL. You should type in complete URL. If you are using a YouTube app in a TV, mobile or a tab, just type in 925 Linux and my channel should be available. So let's click on the URL. I'm using a web browser, so I need to type in complete URL, which is youtube.com/925 Linux. And here is my YouTube channel. I'm going to give some info here. So if you go to about, I will be posting 2 videos without missing any day. So this is also main thing to show. And these are my timings. If you are not subscribed, you need to visit at this timings. I'm not going to force you to subscribe. It's clearly up to you. It's your opinion. I respect that. So if you want to watch my content daily, you need to visit at this timings. The video should be available before the timings because I'll put it in a premium mode. So let's go to the playlist. If you are here only for the Linux content, just go to playlist. You will find a Linux and click on view full playlist for Linux content. And here are the videos. I already made like a 1567 videos, which is almost 1.6k. I covered every type of Linux distros, almost like a 70 to 80% of Linux distros, different varieties or different types of Linux distros, every type of Linux distros. Even if you not heard of that Linux distro, I made a content on it. So these are all the available Linux distros. If you want to play all or shuffle, do anything you want, it's clearly up to you. If you want to search a specific video or a specific Linux distro, like for example, just type in Ubuntu as example, click on Ubuntu. The latest version or the latest content should be available right here. I will make content as soon as the ISO file is released, whether it's alpha version, beta version, development version, it's a stable version, whatever it is. As soon as the ISO file is released, I will make a content on it. So you don't need to be waiting or you don't need to be worried for other channels to make that content. I will be providing that. I'm not going to force you to stay in my channel. You can look it up other channels. I have no problem for that. So again, that's it for the video. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. I respect your opinion. So let's close this thing and end the video. So I'm going to make another video today because I post 2 videos daily. If you want to watch that, you can watch that too after watching this video. So let's power it off and end the video. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.
Press